What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, back at it with another video wherein I talk about Subzero. This particular video right here is going to be about the changes to Subzero. See, I've had time to play the character. I've had time to lab the character. Not enough time to play and lab, because you can never do enough labbing. But you can play for a sufficient amount of time, and you can lab for a sufficient amount of time. And what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the changes to Subzero, not necessarily in terms of the buffs and the nerfs, but I want to talk about the adjustments that we as Subzero players need to be making to our gameplay. Okay? Starting with the fact that there are now two categories of Subzero. There are Subzero teams without slide combos, the chiefest of which is Serena. And then there are Subzeros with slide combos, like Sonya and several other cameos. As a matter of fact, if I go through the cameo list, I'll start in alphabetical order. So Subzero gets a slide combo from Cyrax, Darius. He can get it with Frost under particular circumstances. He has to set up the Frost orb, but I won't count that. Goro, Janet, Jax, Kano, Chameleon, Movado, Scorpion, Sonya, and Striker. Technically, he could set it up with Tremor as well, but that's more of a setup situation. So as you can see, there's a hell of a lot more slide cameos than non-slides. And so chances are, if you're playing a particular Subzero team, you're going to be using him with some sort of slide cameo. Because now Subzero has a slide that functions the way that Tanya's drill kick does. You know what I'm saying? And so, to people that say that Subzero hasn't been buffed at all, he's been nerfed, you are objectively wrong. Because now, Subzero can use his best string, 2-1. This is his footsie button, his premier footsie button. And before, Subzero could only really use this with a handful of cameos. Now he can use it with damn near everybody. And he can get decent damage with that. Well, let me see. You see? Getting 33% from a footsie button is good. I'm happy with that. Would I like it to be 40? Of course I would. You know, I would much rather him get the kind of damage that Katana gets. But I'd rather him get any kind of damage than to not be able to use this at all. Because with Sonya, previously, Subzero had to spend meter off of that button. He had to. He didn't have the option. Now he does. And this right here is a paradigm shift for him. You know, and I've said this in the comments of my other videos, but it's the truth. Like, this is a big deal for him. But anyway, so you're playing a slide combo Subzero or non-slide combo Subzero. Now me, I typically still use Serena. And of course, she does not give him a slide combo. And that's okay, because slide has other utility. Look at how plus slide is. It's plus 32. This allows me to set up a meaty ice clone punch. That's only -7, bitch. See that? So that's good. I can end a combo with the side switchy slide. Pow! Hit him with that. Or I could even advance and start my offense off of that. Of course, when I use this at the end of combos, I have a little bit less frame advantage, but the premise is still the same. But the point of the matter is, this new slide even has utility if you can't combo from it. Because if you end a combo with this, you can decide whether you want to be full screen, or you can decide whether you want to be up close. And so that changes things for Subzero as well. Okay. Now, this is the first adjustment that Subzero players need to make. And that is this. Stop using ice clone in your combos. Stop it. And I'll tell you why. Subzero's ice clone has been substantially buffed. I would go as far as to say is that this clone is so strong now, particularly the EX clone. This is such a strong move now that you really want to save clone as much as possible. And so what that means is if you're doing a combo with Subzero, you need to avoid using ice clone in said combo as much as you can. That way you can freely set up an ice clone. Jesus, why am I whiffing? You want to set up an ice clone once the combo hits. You see that? So I was able to combo the opponent from mid-screen, carry them all the way to the corner. Well, I didn't mean to do that. Carry them all the way to the corner. Bruh. I just hit this shit a billion times in a set. There I go. And now the clone is right in their face. You see? So the reason why you don't want to use clone in your combos is because our clone now has a 6-second cooldown, which means if you use a clone in a combo, you have to wait before you can clone again. And considering how strong the clone is and how many mind games you get to play from it, I don't think you as Subzero can really afford to be without clone. You know, not for long anyway. And so I know people have come up with cool little setups like this. Oh, they have them on auto block. This setup I actually learned from a commenter. Jesus. Let me not do the whole Serena thing. You know what I'm saying? So you can do stuff like that, and that's really cool. And in a pinch, I think you should do that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't make it the centerpiece of my game plan if I were you, but it's something you can do. Now, I came up with this. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was cool. Nice little way to extend combo damage. But in general, you want to try to put your opponent in the corner. Or you otherwise want to do a combo that sets up your ice clone. You see what I'm saying? And so no matter whether you're using Serena or Sonya, you want to set up that ice clone. And when you're using a slide cameo, setting up an ice clone looks a little bit different than what it does as Serena. So let me show you that thing I just did. Jesus. Hold on. So you can slide them into it. Bruh. I did a jump. And you can actually throw them into it even, also. See? And so that's really cool. Now, of course, the moment the opponent sees a damn clone nearby, their natural instinct is going to be, let me get away. You can slide on reaction, kinda. Like you have to read that they're going to walk away from the clone, and that's when you commit to doing the slide. Of course, we know that that's risky, because they could just low block and then you die, right? And that's when you have to mix between doing the slide or the throw. You know what I'm saying? But that does put them in the corner if you manage to hit that. You know what I'm saying? Now, using a slide cameo has one additional benefit as well, because and honestly, he has this benefit no matter what he picks, but it's a little bit easier to armor break. So notice he's gonna wake up slide. Hold on, I messed that up. I ain't know if that was gonna connect. Okay, I didn't mean to jump forward. Bruh, why am I jumping forward, bro? There I go. So if you read that the opponent is going to do a wake-up attack, you can be like, wake up where? See? Now, of course, that wake up advances, so you may have to walk up a little bit and then do it. Notice I took a tiny step forward. You know what I'm saying? So you could just armor break with slide cameos, which is freaking awesome. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't look all that different than his normal non-clone combo. But imagine if you had used the ice clone in your combo already. Like if you had done this. As cool as that is, now you can't armor break. You see what I'm saying? You're left without the ability to armor break. And that's because of the increased cooldown on ice clone, which I'll talk more about. You know? So, yeah. You want to be conservative with your clone. In combos, that is. You want to, anytime you get a hit confirmed, whatever combo you do should really be as clone free as possible. That way you can use it when you really need it. Okay? Now, I'll do future videos about why particular cameos are strong with sub now, especially Sonya. But that's just a small example. 300 off of a projectile. I mean, I think that's kind of strong. And by the way, that's safe too, because if she charges up that thing and then Sub slides in, she's going to shoot a very plus on block projectile that's going to stop the opponent from being able to punish you. And it's a mid. So, yeah. So, yeah, Sonya's pretty strong with him. Now, one thing I need for y'all to understand, though, is that just because you have a slide cameo does not mean that you're always going to get slide combos when you do stuff, okay? So I want y'all to check this out. I'm going to put Subzero on reversal. He's going to reverse Ice Ball, right? Watch this. Notice what happened. I slid under the Ice Ball. Oh, that worked this time. But notice, Sub's Ice Ball hit my cameo. And that's one of the slowest projectiles in the game. You see that? So, let me try that in reverse. So, now I'm this Subzero. What the hell? Oh, my bad. Why I put it on slide? That was dumb. Meant to do Ice Ball. You see that? So with Movado, Subzero is more guaranteed to get a slide combo, but I want you to notice that even if I use forward Movado, as I typically would use, the forward Movado got hit with the Ice Ball as well. But the up Movado works, you see? So if you're gonna play Movado sub and you're using slide in neutral, particularly under projectiles, to combo people, use the up Movado. Though, ironically, when you combo into slide, up Movado is much more trickier to come out for whatever reason. That's when you use the forward Movado. I don't know why that is, but that's just how it works. Okay, so that's mid-screen. So I would say that Subzero in general wants to put people in the corner. That's what he want to do. You know what I'm saying? He wants to put people in the corner. He wants them right here. And so no matter what cameo you're using, ultimately you want to put your opponent here, because it's here where you are at your strongest. Now, I want to talk about two pieces of tech, one of which is old, the other is not really new, but I'm introducing it here. I don't even know if I'm gonna give it a name, honestly, because it just is what it is. But if you've been a fan of this channel, then you know about the universal clone setup, where I get some kind of hit with the cameo and I do 1-1-2 and set up a clone. So one of the reasons that Sub's been buffed is because the universal clone setup now no longer requires meter. You know what I'm saying? And it's still every bit as loopable as it once was. Whoops, I fucked that up. But if you hit somebody upside the head, you can freeze them. And you can loop this. You know what I'm saying? Now, before I get to my second piece of tech, I want to talk about the forward 1-2 clone. Because a lot of sub players have used the loss of this situation to proclaim that Subzero has been nerfed and that the character is now a truncated version of himself because he no longer has this. That's not true. I'm sorry, that's not quite true. Now look, on one hand, I completely understand why this was important, because we can't do this. See, if we could do this, nobody would care about that. You know what I'm saying? This, you know, this wouldn't be such a big deal if we could cancel our strings into Ice Ball. But we can't. And so that's why people clamored so hard around this. But here's the thing. We still can get that functionality from forward 1-2 or any other string. This is still possible. And yes, I'm well aware that the damage is low because it's scaled because of this. I'm well aware of that. But let's tell the truth here. Forward 1-2 clone did not give us a whole bunch of damage to begin with. The point of this was not to get some tremendous ass damage. That was never the idea. The idea was to do a hit confirm into a special that allowed us to get a clone freeze and a setup. You know what I'm saying? That's the point of this. Not damage. You know what I'm saying? Because if we wanted damage, we would have did string into Cameo, did the triple back 2, stand for clone, and did our stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been our damage. Forward 1-2 never gave us that, so we just got to adapt to what we have now. Okay? But anyway, that was my quick aside on that. But as I said, you don't want to even be using clone in your combos anyway unless you can get a setup. And it turns out Subzero can get a setup. Universal clone setup still works. Though I will say, it's interesting, I just did this. And then it looped, but whatever. But anyway, what I will say is this. Universal clone setup still works. You can still quasi-loop it, but you need help of your cameos now. So with Movado, this is what I recommend. And then you can loop that afterwards. Right? And Serena has her situation. Sonya has her situation. What I'm going to say to you is you need to use your Cameo to extend the combo some way. That way you have enough time for your clone to reset for the timer. Because that timer is 6 seconds, and it's a lot. It's a long time to be bucket naked without our clone, you know what I'm saying? And it's not ideal, but there are ways to extend. I fucked that up, but that's okay. Now, that's the tech you know. The old tech of mine. The new tech, I don't even know if I want to give this a name, but I will tell you that back 3 into clone is our bread and butter now. So what we want to do is when we get a knockdown, particularly off of slide, we want to do meaty back 3 into clone. And the reason why we want to do this is because we are close enough to throw. We're technically close enough to overhead as well. Hold on. Bruh. This extra distance is kicking my ass here. Oh, what the hell? Why didn't I get my... So we can definitely throw. We can low as well. And that was the forward slide that I did. You see that? See that? But the real mix is between low and throw. Now you want to time your meaty, because as you can see, if you whiff this, you look stupid. You know what I'm saying? So after your knockdown, you want to time that properly. You know what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is that when we do forward 1-2 into clone, it actually doesn't work out that favorably for us. And I'll show you why. So imagine I do... Now Sub's hitbox is actually rather small. He actually has the katana hitbox, it looks like. Where if he lets go a block, he gets fucked up by this. So some characters really get screwed over majorly. But against a lot of characters, the clone is so close that if they just low block, they break the clone. Like, Rain is notorious for this shit. Like, if you do this to Rain, he'll just low block and break the clone. You see what I'm saying? And so that's where back 3 clone comes into play. Because it don't matter if this hits or if the opponent blocks it. The clone is at the perfect distance to where characters can't crouch block break it. And they have to be careful what they do, because if they do the wrong down 1, do the wrong normal, they're going to get frozen. You know what I'm saying? And so this is actually perfect. And as you saw, it was loopable. You see that? So I can set that up, and that, you know, comes very nicely. Of course, the universal clone setup is still the only one that's really safe, because the drawback to ending a combo with slide in the corner and then going into back 3 clone is that armor is going to tear this up. So let me show you that real quick. Hold on. So if the opponent wakes up with armor, you're going to be looking like an asshole. Watch this. See that? So the opponent can blow any combo from slide. They can blow any of that up. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where the universal clone setup, whoops, universal clone setup is much more beneficial, you see? Because notice I was able to block that. And this works against every wake up in the game, including Johnny Cage. So if you think you have an opponent that's going to try to break out of the corner with a wake up, you can do the universal clone setup. And you could stop that whole shit. Now, subsequently, you could also do the Lin Kuei dive and just kill their wake up outright. So Lin Kuei dive still does its work. I'll just call this the slide clone. Slide clone has its place, but understand that it is subject to being armored. So there's going to be plenty of situations where, you know, you do a combo and you're trying to maximize this damn damage. And you'll do the slide clone. You know what I'm saying? Again, armor kills it. Armor kills it. But it is something you can do. Now, one thing that I think is really cool about having a slide cameo is that any hit confirm will take a cornered Subzero and reverse their opponent's fortunes. So now you have a universal clone setup from being in the corner, which is amazing. I think that's so dope. You know what I'm saying? And if I ain't tripping, it's safe as hell. See that? So that's really cool. And of course, Lin Kuei dive is also in the picture as well. You think you're gonna armor break? You think you're gonna armor out? Hell nah, ho. Nope. So that's really cool. So that's the cool thing about slide cameos. I know this video's long, but I'm trying to chock it full of information. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make sure that anybody that's looking at this can add new things to their repertoire. You know what I mean? And here's something you definitely want to add to your repertoire. EX clone. Well, that wasn't EX clone. EX clone. This motherfucker here is no bullshit. Particularly if you use it off of back 3. As you saw me, or you may have seen me do in a previous video, EX clone lasts for so long that you can backwards throw somebody into it. Now you could always back throw, but you never got no full ass back throw. It didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? But now it does happen. Now it does happen. Now this is the regular clone. So off of slide clone, notice the backwards throw goes away. And if you're not fast enough, the forward throw will go away as well. But with EX clone, hell nah. The forward throw is in play. The backwards throw is in play. Bop. Notice, I got that whole damage, and I'm able to get 2 back 2s. And I was even, oh, I could have used Sonya to extend the combo. You know what I'm saying? But this EX clone is nutty. Absolute loony of a move. This is a Looney Tunes ass move. Because you can literally bully people in this corner for 4 seconds. Bitch, how dare you try to do something? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could bully the shit out of people in this corner. Oh, I forgot to mention. So if you do universal clone setup, let me see here. Because I don't want him to wake up. So if you use universal clone setup, Ice Punch will just freeze a bitch. And this is useful because the opponent might get used to you dashing up, throwing. They're going to be ready for that after a while. And they may even get used to you doing the low. I wouldn't use the reversal slide because, as you can see, I get stuck there. And it creates a very awkward interaction. I would do the forward slide, you know. So if you do a universal clone setup, do back three in the regular slide. But you gotta be faster than that, you know what I'm saying? So. What the hell? Oh, it's better off of back three, the slide clone. Slide clone puts you closer than universal clone setup does. That's why I think it's perfect, you see? It's perfect in terms of clone placement, because not even universal clone setup puts the clone in that ideal spot. But anyway, but you know what I'm getting at is when you do EX clone, you have so much time to bully the shit out of people. And so when people are used to you running up throwing or running up lowing, that's when you start mixing this in. And you can hit somebody from behind that clone. And then you get a full combo if that connects. Right into a slide clone. You see? See that? So you want to use your clone very often, and your clone is much more suited to trapping than it ever was, it ever used to be. There have been so many instances now where I can actually do a clone and then throw an ice ball and I'm protected now. Or I could do a clone and throw the ice punch from behind the clone and I'm actually protected. Or let me show this with Sonya real quick. Oh, I thought I switched. No, fool. Switch over. Okay. You see that? So, clone is really much more purposeful now. So you just gotta use your clone wisely. You know what I'm saying? Because your clone is an investment in your defense and an investment in your trapping ability. And so if you are going to play the Subzero character, in my estimation, you need to be trying to trap people behind this clone in the corner or mid-screen. You know what I'm saying? This clone lasts so long that you actually can convince people to get, you know, clone slid. You know what I'm saying? So you got the slide clone and you got the clone slide, which a lot of people were all too happy to point out that nobody's letting you get away with this in high level. Of course not. That's why they're high level. They're not going to just let you slide on them for free. But of course, if you have this 4-second long clone, you can walk up and potentially throw somebody into that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You can still do all the old universal clone shenanigans that we used to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the information about Sub. So what do I think about Sub in this new patch? Again, I think the character's objectively stronger than what he was. He's objectively a better character than what he was, thanks primarily to these clone buffs and the slide. Even the triple clone is quite useful because it armor breaks in the corner and it allows for some really cool little setups. You know what I'm saying? But I do think Sub-Zero still needs some changes in a future patch. I always said that this could be a possibility after having played in lab. Now I'm saying that this possibility is true. So, one thing that NRS added was this clone cooldown. The cooldown is 6 seconds. One change I would like NRS to make is they need to do what they did in Injustice 2 with Sub-Zero. In Injustice 2, when Sub-Zero performed an ice clone, he could let it expire on its own, he could throw it, or he could break it. When he broke the clone recovery was drastically hastened. It sped up dramatically. You know what I'm saying? But if it expired, it was the longest cooldown. And I think NRS needs to adopt that in this game, because 6 seconds stops us from being able to use clone in combos and then turn around and set it up afterwards, you see? And so I'm thinking that if the opponent is frozen by clone, the cooldown should be 3 seconds rather than 6. If the clone expires on its own, then the cooldown can stay where it's at. That's the change I would make to the cooldown of the clone. Other than that, I don't really necessarily agree with any other clone changes other than perhaps a hitbox buff so that mid-screen conversions after forward 1-2 clone are easier to do, because I do find myself struggling to hit this more than what I'm used to. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's many times where you will drop this, and of course on camera I'm not gonna drop it. Oh, that's not true. See, look. So people had that situation and they thought it didn't work anymore. As you saw, it does work, but you gotta dash up. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe a slight buff to that would be good. That way people can get their forward 1-2 clone stuff back and get their mid-screen juggles back. But probably the most important buff that Sub-Zero could get is a 25 frame ice clone. Bro, I'm happy that we have a clone to cover our ass. The clone really does help. But this ice ball is so goddamn slow. And what blows me about this the most is literally every other character has access to a better ice ball than Sub-Zero. Now, I'm using Shujinko right now. And so I want you to peep what's going on with the speed of the ice ball. So typically the ice ball is 39 frames, right? Okay. When Shujinko is fully charged and he does an ice ball, it's 41 frames. And you're like, that's not better than what we have. No, it's not. But watch this. That ice ball's 31 frames. The better ice ball that we've been looking for has been in the game this whole goddamn time. 31 frames. Let me show you what effect that has. Hold on. So normally, that's not a combo, right? Normally, this is not a combo. But now, hold on. That's a combo. Every other character can do a string into Sub-Zero Ice Ball, except Sub-Zero himself. You have to be in the mirror match, and one of the Sub-Zeros has to be using Shujinko in order to freeze people with his own ice ball. Where's the love, bro? Because Shujinko's ice ball is 31 frames. Not that one. This one. Well, that one. 31 frames. I'll take this 31 frame ice ball, Netherrealm. I will. I really will. Because then we could combo into this. Or combo from this. And this. And this. We would not be able to combo from that or that. Wait, let me see. See? I'm with that. But all I really need to be able to do is this right here. And I need to be able to throw out this ice ball without getting the ice ball blocked or myself getting interrupted all the time. I think that is the last buff that Sub-Zero needs. You guys successfully overhauled the Ice Clone Netherrealm. And we love y'all for that. I do, anyway. Some other motherfuckers might be tripping, but I love what y'all did with this Ice Clone. This Ice Clone is awesome. I just spent a damn near an hour long talking about how dope this fucking Ice Clone is. Because it is. Notice I ain't even asked for the recovery to be shaved down no more because it lasts long enough to counteract the high recovery. You have enough time to do down one clone, and if the opponent doesn't move, they can get thrown into it mid-screen. And I have done that to people. I've down one clone, they've low blocked, and I've thrown them right into it. That's awesome. To me, that offsets this thing being dangerous. It's still every bit as dangerous as it was, but now it's more threatening also. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't even worried about no clone buffs. We just need y'all to overhaul this ice ball. If Netherrealm, if you overhaul this ice ball and let us combo from that, that's the last buff this character will ever really need. So the two major buffs are changes to cooldown on hit, faster ice ball. That's all this character needs. He is better, and this video's been long enough. I've talked your ear off, and if you've made it this far, I appreciate y'all. Let me know what y'all think down below. I'll catch y'all later. 1.